On last year when it was instituted, Brackettville members could come in for $5 unescorted, but member guests were also $5, but had to be escorted by the member. And
that's not a full price point discussion. Okay. That's more of a procedural and operational discussion.
Okay.
That would probably be best sent through the secretary to a correspondence or to the manager, and we can get you an answer on what the operational procedures will be going forward.
Okay, thank you.
Charles?
Oh, yes ma'am.
I can't walk up there. A couple of questions about chickens. And
yes.
I know you were expecting this from me. I did self-sufficiency for many, many years with chickens, vegetables. I kept my whole family going, and I'm totally for it. What I'm not for is if it goes onto our common property. People want them on their property. We've still got that against the CCRs and how many pets we're allowed. Chickens do come under pets. I know you're on Colony Road the same as I. We're allowed 3, so a cat and a dog and a chicken. I have no problem with people having them in their homes. But I would have a problem when we start using our common property. So I'd like to know where they're all thinking of having a community garden.
So I don't have
details.
details.
You must know that. You must have heard something.
I've heard hearsay around where people would. I have ideas where it would be too. There's nothing been formally brought to the board with a proposal to say like this is where we would want to do that. Any formal proposal brought by a member, a group, this chairperson that we've now put together, or the board would be well talked about in front of the public. We wouldn't just come in and say, hey, guess what? You live across from here, and now there's going to be chickens, and they're going to be clucking, and this, that, and the other. That's not the case. This will be a well thought out and public forum before it goes forward.
I get that, but if we use, people have mentioned using that area behind the wall, you know. You then got to change the usage, so we go into Aggie. And then the watering, who's paying for the watering? Vegetables in Texas take a lot of water, and believe you me, I've tried it here.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that, that there's, of course, there are a ton of hurdles to get through when we start talking about community gardens and access and, costs and all that. This is why this has to be, it's great, for community council and the garden club and others to start looking at, okay, this is an idea. Well, that's where it starts. We have an idea, and then we start talking about, well, who's going to cover this cost, and who's going to cover that cost, and what does the access look like? So there has to be something that, it has to be a process. And I appreciate you trying to get ahead of, okay, well, what is this cost going to be?
Yeah, I'm just seeing, I'm out there, people are talking to me, and don't think everybody is for chickens, because a lot of people are saying, well, we didn't buy into so-and-so farm as we bought into HOA. So, there's that attitude out there. I personally, I got a different feeling on that.
It's just an idea.
Well, that's the, yeah, I agree. And again, this will be a carefully thought out process.
I know you're going to do
We're not going to be the Fort Clark of yesteryear that says, we want chickens, and today we don't have chickens, and tomorrow we have chickens. That has been the long-running fallacy of this place. And we're not going to do that going forward. That's what I told you when I came into office. Thankfully, I've still got a couple years with that, and I think everyone here on the board and your management is all about thinking through what we're doing. We're not going to simply act.
I've been here a long time, and I've seen all sorts of gardens, bright ideals started, wonderful ideals, and a few poor old ladies, we start using these and we can't do it anymore, and then it all goes to pieces.
Agreed, and then that's always going to be the problem. When you have an idea and then you have an aging population, there's going to be less help. There was a prison in Louisiana that was self-sufficient for 30 years. Why? Because they were using the labor of the prisoners. Now they can't fund themselves because they started running the funding down because they were producing all the vegetables, and now they can't even feed the prisoners because they've reallocated those dollars. That's a common
my
problem.
only worry, don't worry about the chickens, my only worry is if we're going to go onto any common property, anybody starts expanding their gardens across, which is our land, I would be really up in arms about that.
Even if it were fee-based?
If they were what?
If it were fee-based?
No, I wouldn't give 1 inch of our property. We're already under our acreage.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
Not even close. You got 200 extra acres.
Where did we get those from?
You've had them ever since you started, y'all just never added that.
Well, we used to be claiming them back inch by inch at one time, so. But we
So,
don't want to be
again-
giving a load of acres away.
Again, there's a lot to be considered here. You just brought up a whole other issue that has to be considered, and trust me, that's why we've got 5 minds behind this to say, to start looking at it, and then we bring it to the membership, which gives you another 1,600 and something, votes to say, yeah, this is what we're gonna do or not.
Yeah, oh, that's
So-
great. I mean, if people can have their say.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not something that we're gonna, put down anyone's throat, and,
So it comes down to the board voting on it.
well, it's gonna come down to the membership,
then
expressing their
you-
opinion. So if you're not here, or someone doesn't wanna show up and they have a problem with it, they wanna talk about it in the streets, well, that's where it's gonna stay. Until
Okay.
they come in here and start, expressing their opinions and reaching out and talking about what we're going to do. I mean, we've got a long process here. This is not
Oh, I
something
know,
we're
I
gonna,
know.
we're not gonna jump into tomorrow, so.
Okay, well, thank you for your answers. That will keep a few people satisfied.
No, it's not an issue. Everybody says.
So the email votes, again, we approved the purchase of a 4-wheel drive vehicle. This is it's not a full-size vehicle, it's a vehicle that would be used to take our hunters out to their blinds when they go out in the morning, so they're not riding in a security vehicle or in a truck that we use for other items. This is an item that was found at a reasonable cost, and it really elevates our hunt program to show that we're not just, we don't just have some land and we're sticking you out on it. So we approved that this month. We have no action items. We do have an announcement for Fort Clark Days. That will be March 4th and 5th. Please come out, support Fort Clark Days, and we hope to see you all there. Are there any other comments or questions from the membership? I see a lot of new faces, so I was hoping maybe we had some new ideas coming in.
We just see a lot of faces, we're happy.
Yeah, faces are good, but new faces are even better, so.
Okay, I've got one.
Okay.
It's bugging me every time I go in and out of the fort is, how long is that White House gonna be there painted? I'm so tired of seeing that, and I can't believe anybody would do that to a house like that.
Oh, you're talking about the one down the road?
Yeah, I know.
Who allowed that?
I don't know
Well,
about that.
that's
What's
not
going on?
but that's not a question.
Yeah.
I have the answer.
Let's hear it.
What
It
answer?
wasn't a question.
Can I say,
Well, the actual process of someone painting their house is a personal matter that I don't think we should get into as a board. If y'all like to talk about it after we adjourn, please meet up outside, but that's not something that we're going to address as a board.
well, I could just say the man who.
Yeah, we're not going to address that.
I'll talk to you outside the
All
fort.
right.
I would like
Well,
to
it's
address
his-
something
it's an
about that
historical
though.
house, aren't they?
Please understand that, there's nothing more aggravating to me than to see one community member badmouth or run down another community member. And the man made a decision, it was approved. He did what he thought was right. He's now taking steps to rectify it. So bringing up and resurrecting the White House again, after the guy even showed up last Saturday and took responsibility in front of the membership that showed up at the candidate forum. I mean, that shows some guts. So please, leave the White House alone until he gets it fixed. Okay, he's working on it, he's trying.
The weather's his biggest hurdle.
And it's the only bad decision that's ever been made here, right?
No, it is not. So, but don't keep attacking each other, that just drives me crazy, that takes me back to 2 years ago. And that just was a miserable mess if you lived here.
We do appreciate you coming. It's great to see so many people and so many new faces, so please continue to come, and again, we welcome all of your comments and your questions. Yes, ma'am.
I've talked to Matt for a couple of years about the possibility, excuse me, of maybe putting together a package. I'd like to, we have the great hunt here, so if we could put something together for food and hotel and whatever, where we could sponsor a handicapped vet to come in, go for a hunt, and have a great couple days here. I just thought that would be a great program where we could actually bring more people in to see what we're doing, and give us the opportunities to support the vets, the handicapped, whether we work with BAMC or we work with the local VFW, whatever. There's people that don't get the opportunity to do that. And I'd love to be able to sponsor vets to come in, but we need a price, we need a package, and Matt said he was gonna talk to you
Yeah,
about that.
we talked about it quite a bit. You know, we're sort of limited what we can do. We don't have anything, no restaurant or anything else. So
Right.
If you commit to something, you have to have something.
Well,
there
even
to
if we,
commit
you
to.
know, if
But
we have the
I've also-
hotel and the hunt,
I've also talked to some active duty people, trying to get them out of here, active duty servicemen, and seeing what we can do with that. So,
okay,
I mean, we're looking at all options. I don't think it'll happen this year unless it's March, which we can allow them to hunt on the 400, and we
Yep.
may do that.
That was one thing I was gonna mention, with the expansion of this year of using the 400 to continue to hunt year-round, you know, that gives us more options.
right,
Where we have openings at the hotel, we have the ability to, because that's gonna take more resources, obviously, which is not a problem at all. It's just something that we have to think about when we go to do that. And I would encourage you to, this week when we announce this guest and member experience chair, that's a perfect situation to bring to their attention. I know you've already brought it to Mr. Peterson, but just to kind of get that flowing, I would really appreciate if you would email that person as well. And that way we can kind of get it in the pipeline of things that are on the agenda. And great idea, and I really appreciate you bringing it up.
well, even if, we, you know, if we had the hunt and the hotel,
Sure.
we can work
It's
with
something
local
else, yeah.
restaurants, but it
Because
gives
we have-
them an opportunity, and it's also marketing for us.
Very rarely are we 100% occupancy on our blinds. This year is sort of an unusual thing because we had such an overlay in the DPS, that there is one night a week, Saturday or Sunday, that we are completely booked. That's why we only have half as many DPS officers as they want to put in. So it's sort of put us at a loss for rooms. But as far as getting them in here and offering them places to hunt, yeah, after we assess what we're doing now, we can probably put a percentage on it next year.
And it's something you'd book in advance anyway, so we
Yeah,
would
I
know.
think you can do it. It just needs to be part of the program for next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's absolutely a lot that we can do with that. And you know, when we look at the number of deer that we need to remove from our population each year, that gives us quotas around like what are we actually gonna book versus what we can offer to this program and that program. And there's several programs that we're actually looking at, so that this is a great addition to that. So thank you very much for bringing that up. Anyone else? All right, we will adjourn into executive session. It's 10:13. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Excuse me,
Yes, ma'am.
what's going to happen? I doesn't need to hear.
Yeah, why can't you make this?
For my house. How about you now, you know what?
Yes, ma'am.
All it- you can
Mr.
just,
If you would
blow it
address
off,
that,
you know,
when you bring
the
something,
sander blower.
we can't make it